Hey folks, welcome back for another build video where we're looking at the new Tinkerer exotic mask, which comes with the abridged talent if your primary and secondary weapons are not exotic or named and of the same type. The secondary weapon's talent will also be applied to the primary weapon. This does not apply if the primary or secondary weapon's talent includes weapon swapping, and this does not apply if the primary and secondary weapon's talent are the same. So you can't stack two talents of the same kind. You can't get advantages for any talents that have weapon swapping, like Finisher or Unwavering. And you cannot take advantage of any exotic or perfect talents. But other than that, with this mask, you can stack together two weapon talents of basically any type, so long as your primary and secondary weapon are the same weapon type. And while there are a number of different weapon talents that pair really well together, today we're going to be looking at pairing the Optimist and Sadist talents together with the benefit of the ongoing directive gear set. So starting with the specialization, we've gone with the Gunner, primarily for the Incessant talent, giving us 10% armor on kill, but an additional side benefit here is the Riot Foam grenades, which ensnare enemies. For a primary weapon, we have the Carbine 7 assault rifle, but the assault rifle itself is going to be primarily a preferential pick. There are certainly some assault rifles that have better DPS numbers than others, but ultimately what is most important here is the Optimist talent. Weapon damage is increased by 3.5% for every 10% ammo missing from the magazine, meaning that as you empty your clip, your weapon damage gets higher. For a secondary weapon, we have a custom P416G3, but really all that matters is we have another assault rifle with the Sadist talent, which amplifies weapon damage by 30% to bleeding enemies, and after 4 kills, it applies bleed to the next enemy you hit. So I'm going to go back to our primary weapon real quick and explain what the Tinkerer mask does here. So walking through the conditions, because both our primary and secondary weapon are of the same type, specifically in this case assault rifles, because neither of the weapons are exotic nor named weapons, and because neither of the talents include a weapon swapping mechanic to them, when we're using the Carbine 7, we are actually getting the benefit of both the Optimist talent and the Sadist talent. And for our secondary talent specifically, we've gone with Sadist because we do have the ongoing directive gear down there, which means we're going to have a lot of hollow point ammo, which makes proccing bleed on our enemies rather easy to do. Real quick here for our sidearm, we have the TDI card custom for that +1 skill tier. It particularly pairs well with the Reviver Hive that we have in our first skill slot, because if you're running in a group and you need to get up one of your allies, you can switch to this pistol, get 2 Hive charges, pop out the Reviver Hive, get your ally up, and then pick up your Hive without having to start that 160-second cooldown to get the Hive back. For our mask, we have the aforementioned Tinkerer, which has the lovely flavor text of "Why not both?", which is just a really succinct way to explain how this mask works and the way in which it activates both your primary and secondary weapons talents, even when you're using your primary weapon. For those Division veterans, it's very similar to holstered talents. For a backpack, we've gone with 1 piece of Sesqueveroba for the +8% critical hit chance. And then in our attribute slots, we have a core of weapon damage, which is present throughout all of these gear pieces. And then we've gone with a mix of crit hit chance, crit hit damage, and crit hit damage again in the mod slot. While this is utilizing the new abridged talent on the Tinkerer mask, at its core this is a DPS build, in which case our crit hit chance and crit hit damage numbers matter quite a bit. And as with all crit hit builds, we'll go ahead and flash the equation up on screen here, because when you're adding critical hit chance and critical hit damage, it is important to keep this calculation in mind and do your own personal math to see what your best damage multiplier is going to be. For backpack talent, we've gone with Vigilance, which increases total weapon damage by 25%, and taking damage disables this buff for 4 seconds. For chest piece, we have our first of 4 pieces of ongoing directive. We'll go ahead and run through all of those pieces now and make the rest of them a lot quicker. At 2 pieces, you get +15% status effects. At 3 pieces, you get +30% reload speed. And at 4 pieces, you unlock the all-important Rules of Engagement talent. Shooting a status-affected enemy will apply a mark. Killing a marked enemy grants a full clip of hollow point ammo for your active weapon, and half a clip of the agent's active weapon to the rest of the party. Marks last for 10 seconds, and hollow point ammo amplifies weapon damage by 20% and applies bleed on hit. That last sentence there is particularly important, as that is the reason to go with ongoing directive, as it pairs very well with the Sadist talent, which with the new Tinkerer mask can be on your secondary weapon, and you can tack another weapon damage talent on top of that. In this case, we've gone with Optimist, but depending on your playstyle, you could certainly go with another choice here. In particular, Behind You, Measured, and Close and Personal all come to mind as weapon damage talents that would pair nicely with this build. For core attributes, we have weapon damage, crit damage again in the mod slot here. Last time I'll mention it, but for any crit hit build, just make sure you're following the crit damage calculation that we flashed on screen to make sure your own personal math lines up here. And the ongoing directive chest comes with Parabellum rounds, which increases hollow point weapon damage amplification to 50%, though this bonus does not apply to party members, and of course requires rules of engagement to be active. And then for our gloves, holster, and knee pads here, we have our second, third, and fourth pieces of ongoing directive, unlocking that 2, 3, and 4 piece bonus, which again ultimately just gives us a near limitless supply of hollow point ammo for you and any allies you happen to be running with. For our skills here, we have the Reviver Hive and the Banshee Pulse skill. Both of these are preferential, but I appreciate the Reviver Hive to help get up your allies if you're running in a group, or to stop yourself from completely wiping if you're running solo in the case where you accidentally overextend yourself. And then the Banshee Pulse skill is just a great ambush skill. You'll see it in the video later on, but you come across a group of enemies, capture as many as you can in that cone of disorientation, and then that gives you some nice extra seconds to take all the enemies down if it's a small group, or in the case where you need to reload and your enemy's getting ready to fire at you, the Banshee Pulse is a great way to quickly disorient an enemy, giving you the time you need to reload, regroup, and then take them down. But that is it for this build, a really quick one with the Tinkerer exotic mask and the new abridged talent proccing, which allows us to stack 2 weapon talents in 1 weapon. In this case, we went with Optimist and Sadist on top of the ongoing directive gear set. Take this one out, give it a try, and let us know what you think of it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video, and tell your friends about the channel so you can continue to help us grow and make cool videos like this. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
We're not letting anyone take it away from us.
Taking this fucker out!
This fight isn't about saving America. Just take a look at this fucking city. There's nothing to feel patriotic about. The country died 7 months ago. Start thinking about what you want to get out of this.
I can save them!
Immediate medical assistance needed. Progress halted. Manual override required. Access key detected.